Germany's most famous tank? No. Its heaviest tank? No. Its most feared tank? Never. But when the war began, it was there. When the war grew larger, it was still there. And when the war ended, it was still on the front line. The Panzer IV, one of the longest-serving armored fighting vehicles of the German army. At first, it was designed only to provide infantry support. But as the war changed, this tank changed as well. Its gun changed, its armor changed, its role changed, and in the end, it became one of Germany's most reliable tanks. Now let's take a closer look at the complete life cycle of the Panzer IV. Some war machines look impressive, magnificent, and intimidating at first glance. Others reveal their true value only as the war goes on. The Panzer IV was one of those tanks whose value became clear as the war progressed. Built in the late 1930s solely to provide fire support for infantry, this tank had become the backbone of Germany's armored forces by 1945. More than 8,000 Panzer IVs were produced, and they served on nearly every front for 6 years. Its design was reshaped again and again to meet the changing demands of the war. Today, many people may be more familiar with the names Tiger I or Panther. But if you want to understand the technical backbone of Germany's armored forces, the first vehicle you should study is the Panzer IV. In the mid-1930s, as the German army was developing its new armored warfare doctrine, it did not want tanks to perform only a single role. German engineers were designing different vehicles for different missions. The Panzer IV was never intended to duel enemy tanks directly. Instead, it was developed to destroy anti-tank positions, machine gun nests, light fortifications, and infantry defensive positions standing in the way of advancing troops. For this reason, the early models were equipped with the short-barreled 75mm KWK-37L/24 gun. This gun was highly effective when firing high-explosive ammunition, but its armor penetration capability was limited. The basic concept behind the design was very clear. The Panzer IV would serve as a support platform that maintained the momentum of the armored advance. When the first prototypes of the tank were developed, German engineers adopted a chassis design that was quite conventional, yet highly reliable. The hull was built from fully welded and bolted armor plates. The suspension system used a leaf spring bogie arrangement. There were 8 road wheels on each side, and although this system appeared outdated compared to more modern torsion bar suspensions, it was extremely practical when it came to maintenance. The transmission was located at the front of the vehicle. The driver was positioned at the front left of the hull. On the right side were the radio operator and the hull-mounted machine gun position. This layout became one of the long-standing standards of German tank design. One of the Panzer IV's most notable advantages was its turret design. The interior space of the turret was more practical than that of many early medium tanks. Its 5-man crew played a major role in this advantage. The commander focused solely on observing the battlefield and determining target priorities. The gunner controlled the main gun, the loader prepared the ammunition, the driver controlled the movement of the vehicle, and the radio operator handled communications. This division of responsibilities significantly reduced reaction time during combat. The excellent field of view provided by the commander's cupola was particularly valuable for target acquisition. While commanders in many tanks of the period had to perform several tasks at once, the Panzer IV featured a much more professional distribution of duties. In the early models, the Ausf A, B, C, D, and E variants, armor protection was fairly limited. On the first models, the frontal armor measured only about 14 to 15 millimeters in some areas. In later versions, this thickness was increased to 80 millimeters. However, the original design philosophy of the tank had never been based on heavy armor protection. At the time, German engineers placed greater emphasis on mobility. But as the conditions of the war changed, this approach gradually became insufficient. The rapid development of anti-tank weapons, in particular, made it necessary for the Panzer IV to receive much thicker armor. The engine compartment, the mechanical heart of the tank, was also particularly noteworthy. The later production models were powered by the Maybach HL120TRM engine, which produced approximately 300 horsepower. This engine was sufficient to move the tank's weight of around 25 tons, although it did not provide exceptional performance. Its maximum speed generally ranged between 38 and 40 kilometers per hour. Its road range was approximately 200 kilometers. Under off-road conditions, however, this distance could decrease significantly. As fuel consumption became an increasingly serious problem for Germany during the later stages of the war, the operational efficiency of the Panzer IV also began to decline. The Panzer IV underwent its greatest transformation in terms of firepower. The short-barreled gun performed its role effectively at first, but as the war progressed, more powerful weapons became necessary. As a result, the 75mm KWK-40L/43 gun was introduced, completely changing the character of the Panzer IV. Later, the L-48 version followed, becoming the tank's standard weapon. The Panzer IV was no longer just an infantry support vehicle. At medium range, it was capable of engaging many enemy armored targets effectively. Its armor-piercing ammunition performance increased dramatically. Its higher muzzle velocity also improved its accuracy. This upgrade moved the Panzer IV into an entirely different class. However, these improvements came at a price. The heavier gun, additional ammunition, and thicker armor all increased the tank's overall weight. The suspension system was beginning to reach the limits of its original design. The chassis offered only limited room for further modernization. The hull's vertical armor layout also became a disadvantage as the war progressed. More modern designs that used sloped armor achieved far better results. The Panzer IV was gradually becoming an aging platform. Despite this, German industry continued to manufacture it because the alternatives were not reliable enough. The Tiger I was extremely expensive. Although the Panther was a more advanced tank, it suffered from serious mechanical problems during its early production period. The Panzer IV, on the other hand, was a platform that factories were familiar with producing, maintenance crews knew how to service, and tank crews had already gained extensive experience operating. In a wartime economy, factors like these sometimes become more important than technical superiority. The Panzer IV platform was not limited to its main battle tank version alone. Numerous vehicles for different roles were developed on the same chassis. Vehicles such as the Jagdpanzer IV, Sturmgeschütz IV, Wirbelwind, and Brummbär demonstrated just how versatile this platform truly was. This clearly showed how practical the Panzer IV chassis was from an engineering standpoint. By the final stage of the war, the Panzer IV had reached the limits of its technological development. The Panzer IV AOSFJ was the clearest example of this. To speed up production, the electrically powered turret traverse system was removed. Some manufacturing details were simplified. This was no longer development. It was simplification forced by a shortage of resources. Germany was no longer trying to build a better tank. It was trying to keep production going with the resources it still had. And when the war came to an end, an interesting picture remained. The Tiger I became the symbol of fear. The Panther became the center of engineering debates. But one of Germany's most dependable tanks remained the Panzer IV. It was not perfect. It was an aging design. It had its limitations, but it adapted, and it managed to remain on the production line until the very end of the war. Sometimes what makes a tank legendary is not carrying the biggest gun. Sometimes what makes it unforgettable is its ability to adapt to a constantly changing battlefield. The Panzer IV accomplished exactly that. Warkon Steellab continues to explore the story of steel together with you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments which tank destroyer, or armored fighting vehicle you'd like to see in the next episode. In the next episode, we'll explore the design, technology, and battlefield performance of another legendary armored fighting vehicle. See you in the next video.